Hey guys, what's going on? It's Alex here with my Week 14 picks. Now I know I haven't had a video the last 2 weeks, and I'm sorry. I've just been really busy. Uh, when I say being busy, it means I've been sick and I've not been feeling good enough to record a video. So, over week 12 and 13, if you follow my Twitter, I put out a post on each one of those weeks making my picks, and I literally just took the Sunday slate video and put a green check mark next to it. So you didn't really miss much. But over those weeks, week 12 I went 11 and 5, week 13 10 and 5, so two pretty solid weeks. Making it through the hectic times of Tuesday night football. So that puts my overall total at 118, 59 and 1. We're staying above 500 barely. Hey, no, we're not over 500. Yeah, we are. Duh. So we've got a pretty close to 2-to-1 win or good guess versus incorrect guess ratio. The one tie kind of throws everything out of proportion. But hey, let's just hop right into my Week 14 picks. Starting off with tonight's game, we got LA Rams taking on New England. I've got to take the Rams here. New England's coming off of a 45-0 win over the Chargers, but let me just tell you, the Rams are not the Chargers. The Rams actually have a defense. They've got a pass rusher who's going to keep pressure on Cam Newton and Aaron Donald, and that offense is going to pick apart that battered defense, or not battered, the defense with a bunch of starters who are out. The Rams are going to pick them apart, and I think the Rams take this one by at least a touchdown and a field goal, so 10 points, by at least 10 points. Next up, we got Tennessee in Jacksonville. I've got to take Tennessee in this one. That being said, Jacksonville, train wreck. They're saved from being the worst team in the league because the Jets are still in the NFL. But at this point, after last week's performance, I don't know if the Jets were just playing really good or if the Raiders were just playing really bad. I don't know. But I have to go with the Titans over here because they held their own against a very good Cleveland team. Weird to say that a team who lost to Cleveland still did good because they kept it close. But that's just how 2020 is. The Cleveland Browns are good. So, yeah. There's just no words that need to be said about this. Jacksonville is not going to beat Tennessee. All right, Tampa Bay and Minnesota. I've got to take Tampa Bay on this one. Minnesota, they're looking great right now. I'm not going to take anything away from that, but Tampa Bay, whenever they're hot, they're hot. And I think they're going to be hot this week. They've got they've got probably the best receiving core in the NFL, let's be honest, with the exception of the Chiefs. We'll say the best receiving core in the NFC. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard. You've got Rob Gronkowski in there too. And then Ronald Jones is going crazy. If they just give him the ball more, they would be in a lot better position than they are right now. Minnesota, on the other hand, I like how they're playing, and I think they could make a push for the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to hold their own very well against this Tampa Bay team. The Tampa Bay defense really only they've got two people they've got to cover because I don't think Kyle Rudolph's a huge threat. Cover Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, and this is going to be all Dalvin Cook. And with how Dalvin Cook has been playing, that they're game planning more for Dalvin Cook than the rush game. So I don't know. I want to see Dalvin Cook do good because he's on my fantasy lineup, but I think Tampa Bay is going to take this one. All right, Kansas City and Miami. I think this is probably going to be the most exciting game of the week. Like, let's be real. You've got Kansas City, who is Kansas City. It's always exciting to watch. Then you've got Miami, who's been kind of a dark horse through this entire season. Like, who would have expected the Miami Dolphins after having the number 3 overall pick, or what was it, the number 3 or 4 overall pick last year, to now be up there, one game behind the Bills for the AFC East? Like, whoa! I think Kansas City's going to take this one, but it's not going to be a shootout. It's absolutely not going to be a shootout. I think Kansas City wins this one, but by no more than one score. So 7 points. That's the bold prediction here, but I think Kansas City is the best team in the NFL right now. And I don't think Miami is just quite ready for Kansas City and that high caliber, highly explosive offense that Mahomes is leading. All right, Carolina and Denver. I'm gonna go with Carolina on this one, and my reason here is I think Carolina is still the more complete team. I'm not entirely sold on Drew Lock, especially after how he played last week against the Kansas City defense. Really is not amazing. Like they have their moments, but yeah, that was a pretty poor performance out of the offense, if you ask me last week. Same thing can be said about Kansas City, though. The Denver defense, I don't think is a top. It maybe a top 15 defense, but whatever. That was last week. It was a conference game. The conference games are always tough. However, Carolina is getting Teddy Bridgewater back, or they're not getting Teddy Bridgewater back. They had Teddy Bridgewater. Uh, Carolina, I don't know how to explain this. Carolina wins. All right, next up, Houston and Chicago. I've got to take Houston. My point here being Chicago just lost to Detroit. It was just a sorry excuse of a football game for Chicago. Houston is on a hot streak. They've won what? 3 of the last 5 or 4 of the last 5. Something crazy like that. I think Deshaun Watson's going to have a field day over the Chicago defense, who on paper should be amazing. But I think he's going to be able to pick apart the secondary. My only concern is that they cut Kenny Stills. They've lost Will Fuller. That's going to put Brandon Cooks and Kiki Kuti on the really the only 2 receivers they've got. As far as I'm aware, I don't follow the Texans as good as I should. So I'm a little worried about that. But outside of that, I think they'll be good, just good enough to beat the Chicago defense. I'm definitely still not sold on the Chicago offense, though. I don't think Mitch Trubisky's the answer. So with everything there, I'm going to take Houston over Chicago. All right, so we're going to try to get through these a little bit faster here. I'm taking my sweet time. Next up, we've got Arizona and New York. I've got to go with New York on this one. My fact here is they just took down the best team in the NFC West, or one of the best teams in the NFC West, in the Seattle Seahawks. They held Russell Wilson's offense to 12 points at home with a backup quarterback. And Daniel Jones is coming back now. I think this is going to be a big upset. Giants are on a hot streak. They've won, 4 in a row now? Yeah, I think they're going to be able to take down Arizona. The Arizona offense, as always, is a scary thing to go against. You've got DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald is back this week to go with Kyler Murray. However, the Giants have snuck in one of the best defenses in the NFL. It's a top 5 right now? So it's good. I know it's crazy to hear an NFC East team having a good squad. It's weird. So with that, I'm going to take the Giants to get the upset over Arizona. All right, next up we've got Cincinnati and Dallas. In Cincinnati, I'm going to take Dallas. Cincinnati I don't think they're set at quarterback. Brandon Allen, I mean, he did okay last week, but that second half was pitiful. Like, I think they maybe made it to positive yards by the end of the game. It was terrible. Dallas, on the other hand, I mean, they've got Andy Dalton back. Andy Dalton is used to playing in the jungle. So I think the Cincinnati defense is not going to be able to handle Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Tony Pollard, Zeke Elliott. There's just... It's going to be... I think it's going to be a steamroll. Well, no, Cincinnati usually does well in the games that you would expect them to get steamrolled, because, like, on paper, Dallas should obliterate Cincinnati here. But I think Cincinnati keeps it within 2 scores. But Dallas is going to win this game. And it's going to keep Cincinnati in the top 3 spots. So, right side? All right, next up, Indianapolis and Las Vegas. After last week's performance, I would be stupid to pick the Raiders to win this one. Indianapolis, yeah, they lost to the Titans, but oh well, whatever. Indianapolis is a threat to take the AFC, or compete for the AFC championship this year. That Indianapolis defense is strong. They've got a good running attack. Phillip Rivers seems comfortable under center. Um, the Raiders, you would have thought after week 4 taking down the Chiefs and then keeping the game against the Chiefs close again, you would think that the Raiders were a better team than they were. But they should have lost to the Jets last week, except the defensive coordinator on the Jets decided to rush 6 on what is obviously going to be a Hail Mary throw. It was the stupidest call I've ever seen. Like, absolute stupidest. Almost as stupid as the Indianapolis punt fake that should have never been snapped. My God, I'm glad they fired him as fast as they did. But with that, the Raiders got lucky against the now 0-13 Jets. So I don't know if I'm going to take the Raiders on anything that's going to be close the rest of the year. Colts take this one with ease. All right, next up we got Seattle and the Jets. Easy pick. The Jets are going to go 0-16 this year. It looked like the Raiders and the Patriots were their best chances to get wins. But I'm going to take Seattle here. I think the Seattle offense is going to bounce back after that pitiful performance they had last week. I don't think they're going to let the Jets keep it as close as the Raiders did. And yeah, they've lost to one New York team. There's no way they lose to a second one in a row, especially when that second one is led by Adam Gase. There's just no debate here. Seattle wins. All right, next up we got Green Bay and Detroit. I've got to take Green Bay on this one. The Packers are looking great. They've had some rough patches throughout the year, but they're playing against Detroit, and I think the Lions aren't going to be able to keep up with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, Lazard, and Aaron Jones. There's just a lot of offensive power on this. I don't think the Detroit defense is going to be able to keep up. They did give up 30 points to Mitch Trubisky, so yeah, that should be a little worrisome there for the defense. But easy enough. Green Bay, I think the defensive front at Green Bay is going to be enough to keep Matthew Stafford, Marvin Jones, Kenny Golladay, all of them in check. I think Green Bay wins the division rivalry here, or wins the division matchup, and takes it by at least 14 points. All right, now we've got Atlanta and the Chargers. I'm going to take Atlanta on this one. Now, the 45-0 loss for the Chargers is not impacting this decision at all, except they did just lose 45-0 against a barely 500 Patriots team. As much as I love Justin Herbert, he had a total of 6 fantasy points last week. That's not good. It might have ruined his chances at Rookie of the Year. Justin Jefferson's having an amazing year, and he might have just given Jefferson the front row, or like the fast pass to the Rookie of the Year lead. I think he'll bounce back, and I think they'll keep it closer. The Atlanta Falcons are not the New England Patriots. Even with the Patriots being depleted, the Falcons at this stage in the season can't really compete with the Patriots. I think the Chargers keep it close, but I think a lot. I know Atlanta will be able to move the ball on this. The Atlanta offense will be able to move the ball, and the passing game is really what's going to be carrying Atlanta here. I don't think Todd Gurley is going to have a huge game against the Chargers. I think it's going to be more Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. I think the Chargers defense is going to be able to keep up with those two really amazing receivers. Chargers, on the other hand, I think the offense is going to be able to get things moving. However, I don't think they're going to keep it close enough to stay extremely competitive, especially late in the fourth quarter, unless the Falcons blow it this week the same way they have several times before this year. I think the Falcons win this one. All right, San Francisco and Washington. I'm going to take San Francisco on this one. I think San Francisco gets I'm going to take Washington on this one. If I said San Francisco the first time, I meant Washington. I'm going to take Washington on this one. I think they have back-to-back big weeks. They took down the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers last week, and this week I think they take down the 49ers, effectively putting the final nail in the coffin on the 49ers playoffs hopes this year. I think Washington ends it and they keep it within a game of the Giants. Or I think they hold their title or hold their tie with the Giants this week. I think both of the NFC East teams that won last week will win this week. It's weird to think of Washington being as competitive as the 49ers after the 49ers just went to the Super Bowl last year and kept it within 2 scores of Patrick Mahomes. But San Francisco is riddled with injuries. The defense looks like they were struggling. Offense, they're going against the Washington defense that pretty well shut down the Steelers, holding them to 17 points. Not an easy thing to do. So I think Washington's going to hold off and take down the 49ers, the defending NFC champions. All right, now we've got New Orleans and Philadelphia. This is an easy pick for me. New Orleans all the way. Taysom Hill looks comfortable as a quarterback. He actually did pass for 30 attempts last week. He's putting up normal quarterback numbers. The yardage isn't quite there yet, and the touchdowns aren't really there yet, but he's moving the ball on the ground himself as well. I think last week he had, 80 yards on the ground? He's really taken a hold in that New Orleans offense, and he's holding up Drew Brees' spot pretty well for him. It makes me happy to see. I've always rooted for Taysom Hill. However, the New Orleans defense is holding strong as well, and I don't think the Philadelphia offense, as weakened as they are, and I believe they put out the official word that Jalen Hurts will be starting. This is a tough week to have Jalen Hurts starting. The New Orleans defense is really no joke. They can hold their own pretty well with the best of them, and I think New Orleans gets the win here. All right, now last 2 games of the week, we got Buffalo and Pittsburgh. This is going to be a good game no matter what, because you've got 2 really strong defenses going against 2 pretty solid offenses. Josh Allen is having an MVP caliber year, and for that, I'm going to take Buffalo over Pittsburgh here. Buffalo, they've got a great defense. They've got a really scary offense. Pittsburgh is coming off of the loss with Washington. I'm sure it's a big relief off of their shoulders to get that first loss, because now you don't have all eyes on you waiting for you to mess up and give up your first loss. But I think Buffalo is going to be too much for them. Buffalo offense and the Pittsburgh defense are going to clash really amazingly. I think the Buffalo offensive drives are going to be the fun ones to watch. However, the Buffalo defense is really good. The Pittsburgh offense struggles. Receivers are dropping passes everywhere. Big Ben's having the last 3 weeks, his average passing attempts was 50. So for Ben Roethlisberger to throw 50 passes, that's not good. Because last I looked, Pittsburgh was a very run-first team. And his receivers cannot hold on to the ball. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I think the Buffalo defense is what's going to really win this one. I think Buffalo, I'm going to say 3 turnovers. We'll even go as far as say 2 fumbles and what are we going to say? 1 turnover on downs. We'll say that. 2 fumbles, 1 turnover on downs. There we go. All right, last but not least, we got Baltimore and Cleveland. Baltimore seems to be struggling. I mean, they won against the Cowboys, but there aren't many teams in the league in the NFL that haven't beat the Cowboys. Cleveland, on the other hand, is really hot right now. They just took down the Tennessee Titans. They're 9-3, locked in a winning season for the first time at least the last 12 years, 13 years? Probably a lot longer than that. All I've ever known Cleveland to do is lose. And right now they're winning. But they don't really play good against Pittsburgh or Baltimore. Those are the 2 teams that are Baker Mayfield's kryptonite. I think I'm going to take Baltimore in this one. I don't think it's going to be a shootout like how the first one was. What was it, 28-3 or 27-3 last time these 2 teams played? I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think Baltimore wins it by, we'll say, 10 points, a touchdown, and a field goal. But I think Cleveland plays a lot better than they did in, week 3 they went against each other? I think they play a lot better this week than they did that week, but I still have to take Baltimore on this one. But anyway, those are my picks. They were really long-winded this week, so hopefully you guys didn't get bored. But anyway, guys, we'll see how I do this week. Again, my record's 118, 59, and 1. Let's see if we can't break. We'll shoot for 130 this week. Yeah, that's 12 wins. See if I can do it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.